Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, interesting news coming to you from SOG himself, and it's not any news that regards to anything current. It's actually more of historical, uh, news from Andre Ward. Andre Ward has stated that apparently in 2003, um, Roy Jones Jr., who was one of his favorite fighters of all time, if not his favorite fighter of all time, Roy Jones Jr. apparently turned down a $40 million offer to fight Mike Tyson in 2003. Yes, you heard that correctly. Apparently, Roy Jones Jr. didn't want no smoke with Mike Tyson in 2003. Now, many of you may remember Roy Jones Jr. at this particular time. He was, I think he had just beaten John Ruiz. And Mike Tyson had just gotten knocked out by Lennox Lewis in their big mega fight. So here's what Andre Ward said in regards to that. He said, I quote, "There was a Mike Tyson fight on the table, and I believe I'm accurate when I say this. It was somewhere around $40 million guaranteed. There was an upside too. You stay at heavyweight, you keep the weight on, and Tyson wasn't quite Tyson at that time. He was still dangerous, but he wasn't quite Tyson. I think they were working towards it. What I heard was Roy wanted more money." Yeah, and then as many of you know, Roy went on to basically turn down that offer, and then he wound up fighting Antonio Tarver. So we don't quite understand why Roy turned down that kind of fight, because Tyson was clearly past it. Tyson was just got folded up by Lennox Lewis, and it would have made a lot of money. But I guess it's one of those things in boxing where, you think an offer is always going to be there, and sometimes opportunity comes but once. It don't come back no more. Like the damn song says, you gotta take the opportunity when it strikes. What's our friend Vegas say about women when they're hot for you? What does he say?
He said when the oven is hot,
When the oven is
don't
hot.
let it go out.
I said when the oven is hot, you gotta strike while the iron is hot.
Yeah.
There you go. It's the same thing with boxing. He thought the Mike Tyson offer would still be there. Now, Andre Ward continued on by saying, I quote, "Roy somehow said no. The fight will be there down the road, and put his attention to Antonio Tarver, and the rest is history. I wanted to see him fight Tyson and ride off into the sunset. One more and you're out." Roy could have had a full career, rode off into the sunset, hunting and fishing, doing whatever he does, and still not been fundamentally sound. And that's just what it was. So it is something to think about. Could you guys imagine? I mean, it's funny because here on YouTube, and just in boxing groups, Mike Tyson fans and Roy Jones Jr. fans are the same the same people, and they had two of the most diluted fan bases in the history of boxing. No disrespect to Roy Jones Jr. or Mike Tyson fans. I'm a fan of both fighters, but I'm talking about his fanboys. You go on YouTube, you go on freaking Facebook, you go on these boxing groups, and you swear Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. would have never lost. And anytime you discuss a loss with one of those fighters, with one of their respective fanboys, they make it sound like if these guys were in their prime, or that because these guys weren't in their prime when they lost, that none of the losses count. They all count, okay? They all count. It's boxing. This ain't basketball where your record resets the next year. They all count. So guess what? When Kawasaki got punched in his mouth by Joe Kawasaki, when Roy Jones Jr. got punched in his mouth by Joe Kawasaki, it counted. When Roy Jones Jr. got folded up by South Florida's very own Glenn Johnson, it counted. When Antonio Tarver folded up Roy Jones Jr., it counted. When Lennox Lewis ironed out Mike Tyson in 2002, you damn right it counted. Now, personally speaking, I would have loved to see this fight between Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. Would have been great for boxing, At that particular time too, this is when Roy Jones Jr. was the man. Roy Jones Jr. He was the pound for pound, or one of the pound for pound kings of boxing. He was definitely up there. He was well known. He transcended the sport. He had a deal with Jordan. Everybody loved Roy Jones in America. He was a big name. Even if you didn't follow boxing, you knew about Roy Jones Jr. because he was one of those fighters that when you saw him on TV, you didn't have to know much about boxing to know that he was special. Okay. And at this particular time, let's see, let's go on his box right quick. So in 2002. So in 2003, so in early 2003, he beats John Ruiz. His last 5 fights before John Ruiz. He beat Glenn Kelly, Clinton Wood. So yeah, he was picking up some decent wins. He was looking like a damn near unbeatable fighter, and then many people believe that if Roy Jones Jr. would have just retired at that point, right after he beat John Ruiz and picked up a WBA title, he would have went down as one of the top 10, 15 best fighters of all time. But then he stayed in boxing too long, and he started getting folded up by Antonio Tarver and Glenn Johnson, and then Antonio Tarver again, and then he lost the rematch to Bernard Hopkins when they were old as hell, and then he got stopped by Dennis Lebedev, and then the worst one of all time is the Enzo McAnally fight. Enzo McAnally absolutely embarrassed him. That one right there is actually sad to watch. So he took so many unnecessary losses because he just didn't know when to say when. He didn't know when to hold him, and he didn't know when to fold him. But I think a fight with him and Tyson would have been very interesting. It would have been a really entertaining fight. Now, I was recently watching Chris Byrd versus Jimmy Thunder, a great fight. You know, if you haven't seen Chris Byrd versus Jimmy Thunder, go watch that fight. I just did a video on that, so check it out if you haven't done it so already. But Chris Byrd versus Jimmy Thunder was a great fight, and Chris Byrd had a reputation for being a boring heavyweight because he was a smaller heavyweight. You know, he boxed in a slick southpaw, you know, kind of a style, kind of like, you know, think of Pernell Whitaker, but a heavyweight, you know, a smaller guy boxing these Goliaths. You know, they were talking about Roy Jones Jr. fighting Chris Byrd, and that was a fight that never came to fruition because, you know, Roy Jones Jr. in his career, he always seemed to struggle with southpaws. And could you imagine Roy Jones Jr. fighting an experienced Chris Byrd in 2003, who at that time, you know, Chris Byrd, if my memory serves me correct, he was like one of the top guys in the heavyweight division in 2003. You know, he was picking up some good wins around that time. Chris Byrd was a dangerous MF, and I think he would have beat Roy Jones Jr. if they would have fought at heavyweight, because Chris Byrd was an amazing fighter, and Roy Jones Jr. was always kind of reluctant to take the fight. And I think the fact that he turned down Mike Tyson when Tyson was no longer Tyson, I knew it, you knew it, everyone knew it. I mean, I'm not gonna, you know, hold it against Roy Jones Jr. because he had such a remarkable career in boxing. I mean, when we talk about some of these wins he got in his career, you know, he beat the likes of James Toney, Virgil Hill, Montel Griffin, Mike McCallum, just great fighters. Not good fighters, but great fighters. Roy Jones Jr. beat. So we're not gonna discredit him. We're not going to throw salt on his name. But it is interesting to talk about because, you know, why would Roy Jones Jr., a guy that was riding on such a high, not take the $40 million Mike Tyson offer? You know, it is interesting to think about, but you got to think about it like this too. If he was reluctant to fight Chris Byrd, a smaller, light-punching, slick defensive heavyweight, even if Tyson was faded and he did just get folded up by Lennox Lewis and psychologically wasn't the same fighter, you know, we know in his career he went on to lose fights to the likes of Danny Williams and guys like that. If he psychologically, if Roy Jones Jr. wouldn't want to deal with Chris Byrd of the world, why would he want to even risk the possibility of Mike Tyson landing something vicious on him? You know what I'm saying? Because Roy Jones Jr., I mean, as good as he wasn't exactly like, he wasn't George Chuvalo as far as his chin. If he got hit, you could drop Roy Jones Jr. But, you know, it's all just hearsay. I'd like to know what you guys have to say. What do you guys think? Why do you think Roy Jones Jr. rejected the $40 million offer to fight Mike Tyson? And if he did fight Mike Tyson at that time, even though he was faded, who do you think would have won and why? I'd like to know in the comments down below. And so, yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you smash that like button like you smashing your ex-girlfriend. You know, we don't say that too much here on True School Sport, but we'll say for this video. Smash the like button like you're smashing your ex-girlfriend. Subscribe. We're on the road to 30,000 subscribers. We're not too far from it. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys.